good nerds? This is Judah Rad, and I'm here with Robo Strange. Today, we are happy to welcome the creative team behind Nottingham, an upcoming historical horror comic from Mad Cave Studios. This is expected to drop on March 3rd, and let me tell you, we've seen issue number 1, and it is a wild ride. Joining us is writer David Hazan, artist Shane Connery Volk, and colorist Luca Romano. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
So David, I'm gonna start with you really quick. So we're talking about Robin Hood. This is they're from Men in I think Men in Tights is the first Robin Hood story I've ever seen, and then there was the one with I can't remember. There's been a bunch of different versions of this story.
You're thinking of the Costner version. That's what you're thinking.
The Costner. Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah. But your take still manages to be wildly unique. To say the least. What made you decide to reimagine this tale as a brutal slasher piece?
There was a couple of things. One is when you're telling a story in 5 issues, it really helps to have an established cast of characters. So I kind of landed on a medieval setting because I didn't want to do a noir in a conventional setting. And once I landed on that, I tried to find some sort of parallels between the origins of the noir genre and landed on the Crusades and kind of just unraveled from there. And I just I love Robin Hood as a story, but I've always been suspicious of the character's motives, especially when you consider that Robin, in most of the tales, not all of them, is a nobleman. And I think that's really kind of quite something that's very reminiscent of our current milieu.
Okay, I can see that.
So this next one is for Shane. So you get this script, you review it. What's going through your mind when you're getting ready, when you're thinking of the imagery that you're going to bring to life with the story?
Well, I was pretty stoked about it because I'm a huge, I'm a history buff. I love, while I'm drawing, I watch a lot of documentaries. So I was pretty stoked to get, when they were telling me or asking me when I won the Mad Cave Talent Search, they're like, would you be interested in a noir? And I'm like, great. What about a historical noir? I'm like, even better. And then when they said Robin Hood, I won't lie, I was a bit like, oh man, it's going to be, not knowing what that might mean. I love the Robin Hood tale as well, but I was waiting for kind of another Robin Hood treatment. I'm like, but whatever, you want to pay me to draw comic books, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But when I got the script, I was stoked because, of course, I don't know how many spoilers we can give, but it's not straight up, the classic tale. It's very much a police drama set in the 12th century, and that was super cool. And as you guys probably discovered, I like to draw with a lot of blacks, and so being dark, I was like, great, the darker the better. So I was really excited, honestly. And then as the books progressed, I got more excited to draw even cooler, crazier stuff. So
yeah, it's like 10 times cooler than the Ridley Scott. Wasn't there a Ridley Scott Robin Hood that came out
which sadly I was stoked for it because I was like, oh, it's going to be kind of like Robin Hood Gladiator, but they forgot to put a story amidst really good actors and
yeah.
When you look at that cast, it's absolutely stunning, and then you just it's just a spaghetti of a plot, and what is going on here?
I don't know how they made it so bad. It was shocking to me how disappointing it was. But
yes.
But Nottingham is
actually
awesome.
people don't know that there's actually the DCU's first movie, so I don't know.
It was the DC Robin Hood. So this is another one for Shane. This mask is fucking nuts. Immediately unsettled me. Just the smile, completely disturbing, and I really dug it. What was the inspiration for that design?
Well, when we were getting into character design, David sent me, kind of stuff, different ideas for looks of characters, and then he had sent me stuff for this mask because obviously that's a big part of the story. And he sent me it's actually pretty topical because the new movie The Dig that's on Netflix right now, people are talking about. It's that mask from Sutton Hoo, which is it's an Anglo-Saxon burial. It was the mask they dug out of there. So it's David sent me that, and I'm like, oh, I know what this is. Great. It's like the Sutton Hoo mask. I get it, because that mask has like a mustache, and so I was like, sweet. So he was like, can you do that with like kind of the Guy Fawkes mask and with the big smile? So I just kind of went crazy with it. I just that big creepy smile I thought was such a cool thing for all the masks to have, and then I added in every character, like you'll see Robin Hood and certain other characters as we go have like Robin Hood's got like the little mustache, so it's kind of like an Errol Flynn. I sort of threw in a couple of those little like Errol Flynn, even like the Disney cartoon, right? Like sort of the tropes I got to throw into the mask, but kept it super creepy. I thought it was a great, like that was kind of David's thing, was having that mask, and then I just went to town and figured I'd make it as creepy as possible. So I'm glad I'm glad you found it to be creepy.
Yeah, definitely. Give me the willies.
Like, I mean, having somebody commit murders with like a giant smile on their face, of course, that, you know, reminiscent of the Joker, and that's, I mean, why he's terrifying is it's just such a
laughing
creepy,
the whole time.
Yeah, right. Like, so yeah, super cool.
That's cool. Yeah, because those are the first images I saw was the first couple pages where there is smiling assholes murdering people roughly.
That's awesome. Luca, actually, the next question is for you. So Shane said something earlier with regard to this is a dark, and I like using a lot of black. But my question starts off, there's a lot of red in here, and with a lot of blood and all that, it's a bloody book, and we see a lot of dark and gritty, right? But these dark and gritty is usually a lot of grays with a little bit of splash here of red or whatever. But your Nottingham is actually pretty colorful, and in some scenes they're cheerful almost. What's going through your head? What's your vision as you're coloring these pictures?
So there's the point of the inks being so strong is quite cardinal, because you need to adapt to the line art and the inking for every project you take. And my job is mainly to make sure that the reader has a clear focus of what's going on. So I need to keep in mind the inks are already quite heavy, and I need to light up what should be most in focus, let's say most readable. And the concept of the blood being in a single tone was to contrast the most possible the inking being so gritty and full of texture. So everything that's blood, pure blood, is pure flat red. And I hope that works.
It does.
And
I think it works.
It does. I'm glad it does. Because I could have made it super textured and whatever not. I worked in a horror movie, so I'm fairly competent, I must say, for gritty gore and stuff. So painting blood is not something I've not done. I spent something like a year and a half just on that. I've seen too much blood, probably. Making sure the contrast was on point helped the narration, the narrative impact. And as for the cheerful part, I think I might know which panels you're referring to. If it's a bit in the halfway through the books, let's say, where there is some questioning going on, let's say. And
yes.
That's pretty much my one of my pet peeves. I love this super strong, impactful backgrounds. One point is because I suck at painting backgrounds, because I'm just bad. That's all there is. But the how would you say, the strength of the message of the panel comes out in a way different impact if the colors push as much as I possibly can, print allowing with bright and strong coloring as well.
Well, and
that's pretty much it.
I developed a game with Luca as the books went on, because I think, David, we were about 3 issues in before Luca came on, I think, and this is my first series, so I'd never drawn, for a colorist. and everything I do is black and white, right? And I tend to go into where like a book could be black and white. So I started playing this game with Luca as like things got a bit more detailed and I got more comfortable to be like, well, let's see if you can fucking figure out what's going on in this panel. You know, you're like, and he got it every time. I don't think there was one time where I was like, Luca, that's actually not, you know, this thing that's like actually like, you know, part of his outfit. He figured it out every time. So it was a fun game to get a little more crazy every time and see if he could figure out what was going on.
Yeah, and let me tell you, by the end of the books, on the around fourth or fifth issue, things get really crazy. The amount.
You ever get the you ever get the art and just say like, ah, fuck this, I can't.
Yeah,
do
fuck this guy.
It's my fault, actually. I think the blame is all on me for those
It's
last
all on
two
you,
issues.
man, all on you.
Well, it's like
Too many crowds.
it's a hand it down the line thing, right? So the writer gives me, like David gives me something, and I'm like, this is BS. Like what, like 6 pages of crowds, and like, you know, I'm like enough. And so then I hand it to Luca. So I'm like, so I had to live through this garbage. Now Luca
That's
can
your
live through.
turn.
He can live through even more. Like you
Yeah.
know, it's like handing your misery down the line. So
It's your turn. Yeah, I
One
like
of
that.
the- one of the interesting parts in the being the color guy is that to make sure the pages with that amount of detail and texture work, you're kind of forced to work over the line art and keep the line art clear and readable. So
Right.
there is a vast amount of color holds on those pages that I probably sometimes consider spending off the time over the line art instead of under the line art, just to make sure that all the gritty details of the texturing still pop, but do not impair the readability of the figures.
well, it's good to know that
Still
David and I we did our job for you, buddy. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes,
Seem,
I appreciate
seems,
it, mate.
seems like a really close creative team, and you guys are spread out. I think.
Quite
I
a
know.
lot. Yeah.
I know David's in Australia. Luca, where are you at?
I'm in Italy.
You're in Italy, okay? And then,
I'm center link in the chain. We
Right.
cross the whole globe.
so the question I have is, how did you guys link up? How did you guys first kind of become aware of each other and decide to do this project?
David, you can take that one, buddy.
I'll take. Both myself and Shane were winners of Mad Cave's 2019 talent search. So Mad Cave took the prerogative on that front. And then we were about 3 issues in when they brought Luca on board to color the book. So it was all Mad Cave, and most of it was our editors, Brian Hawkins and also Chris Fernandez.
Okay.
Yeah, so they stuck us together, and it seemed to work pretty good.
That's
That's so
awesome.
cool.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I know you said this is your first book, but for David and Luca, have you ever been, if this isn't your first book, have you ever been put on teams where it was just like, this is not working, but you have to out of professionalism? You don't have to name names, but have you ever been in difficult situations like that?
This was my first, but Luca probably has a lot more experience than the both of us.
Just a tiny bit, not that much. I've worked a lot, and I still do work a lot in indie projects. So it goes without saying that some of the artists or some of the writers are not yet at the peak of their game, and so I wasn't either. So I'm sure there has been times where the artist thought, well, these colors could do better, and sure, I did think the same sometimes. But
So that,
as far as personalities, I have been really lucky, and I've never worked with anyone that I would not feel comfortable working with for pretty much every project I can think. I was really lucky on that sense. I'm blessed, and these
Awesome.
guys in particular, we really kind of how would you say it in English?
We
Clicked?
meshed. Yeah, we clicked.
We clicked. That's the proper way. Yes.
nice.
That's
That kind of brings me to my next question. So we're talking about collaboration. What is the dynamic like creatively? So does David kind of keep you two on a tight leash, or is the art team more empowered regarding the narrative? Like how does that work? I know it's different, and there's no right or wrong, but there's different for different teams. So kind of walk me through that.
From my perspective, I tend to be very specific when I write because that's just how I see the pages in my head. And sometimes I don't see, like, sometimes I see layouts in my brain, sometimes I don't. And if I don't, I won't say anything. But if I do, I will. And Shane, I think, has been very flexible in how he treats those pages. But I think this team works really well together on another level because, like you guys can probably tell by now that like I'm quite cerebral, and Shane brings like something bombastic to the art, and Luca brings his own brand of Luca to the pages as well. So I'm like, it just kind of all worked. And then I guess if you want to blame someone for keeping us on a leash, it's probably our editor Brian.
Oh, okay.
He's the most sensible one of the lot.
This is Brian Hawkins.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is it difficult at all to like stay on timelines or anything like that, or is this a breeze? Sometimes you have books that kind of read themselves. Does it creating those books, is that a process also?
Well, I think for me, like I would say that, like, especially the first book was really difficult just because it was my first experience drawing to a deadline, right? So I learned very quickly that you, as an artist, you're trying to balance like quality with, getting to fit it in. And so that's really difficult. And I mean, obviously, artists have talked about this forever. Like, where do you not so much cut corners, but where do you figure out you're drawing too much? You're trying to do too much in this panel. Like, this is a talking head. It doesn't need a lot of background, but as an artist, you kind of want to give your all to every single panel. So as the books went on, I know for me, the deadlines got a bit easier because I started to figure out you don't need to be doing this. Like, you're spending too much time on this detail. You can, figure that out as it goes because I had a couple, 20 plus hour days. It was like go to bed at 4, get up at 6, like keep cracking at it. So I think it's just a process of learning how to maximize. Probably you guys, David and Luca, probably felt the same. It's a matter of maximizing to get the best product without completely killing yourself with the deadline, right? Yeah.
Quite close to that, yeah. One of the sayings that goes on in the art community, especially between us professionals, in my case, I don't consider myself an artist. I'm more of a guy that colors things. I cannot, I'm not. So anyway, is the finished is better than perfect, and you need to hit your deadlines. So for as much as you want to spend the whole day texturing that panel because it looks so pretty, you need to finish the page that you need to finish today. And I am lucky. I think I've never missed a deadline so far, but I'm not a fast painter, so I got lucky also on the projects I've been offering and being, well, it's not that I've been, I wouldn't say being wise enough, but savvy enough not to take too many projects at the same time, because you can easily overburden yourself, and this industry needs to be on point.
When I took,
lucky. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I took a piece of advice from a bunch of different artists. I know Todd McFarlane talked about this, about how, like, you're drawing a page, you do your best, and there's the sense that you kind of always want to keep coming back and fixing it. And you're like, I could make it better. But eventually you've got to say, you've done a good job. Do the next page, do the next page, do the next book. Because I mean, it's, I think whether you're a writer or an artist, colorist, letterer, it doesn't matter. Like your original, like where you started and where you get to, I mean, you're going to see progression. You're going to see improvements as you go. And then, of course, when I look back right now, like a year later, I was drawing book 2, I think, by now. So I'm like looking back at book 1 thinking, oh shit, like you could have done this, you should have done this. But I mean, you're never going to make a page perfect. You can't write it perfect. You can't draw it perfect. You're going to, as you go and you get more work under your belt, you're going to feel better about what you're doing. And that just comes with the territory. So eventually, I guess what I'm saying here is you got to move the fuck on, get going.
Yeah.
It's like, it's deadline time, hand it in. You're going to have the next book, like which is difficult. You want to make it perfect, but I mean,
I would
there's no
recolor
perfect in
every
art or
page.
life. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. What were you saying, Luca?
But I lagged. Sorry, guys. I probably spoke over you.
all good.
That's
I
right.
was saying that am I lagging? Are you?
No, you're good to go.
You said you would
Okay.
recolor every page, eh?
Yes, absolutely. We would restart the whole project, do better in every page. I hope.
I mean, for
Spoken like a
me,
true
it's
artist.
like I started writing it in like October, November 2019, and it's
Mhm.
now 2021. And like, of course, like it's part of how you know you're getting better as you look at things and you're like, this could have been better. But like at the end of the day, like we made a book, we made a good book, at least I hope. And
Yeah.
like we should be fucking proud of that.
If
You guys
Yeah,
definitely should be.
I agree
this is
with
a
that.
very good book. If this is where you're starting out, I'm very excited to see you guys in like another 2 or 3 years because
Yeah.
this is pretty cool.
I appreciate
It's
that.
very, very surprising to hear that you two are this is your first book, because it does not seem that way.
Yeah,
So that's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
So real quick, first issue, super action packed. It looks like the plot might become something more of like maybe a political thriller, maybe. Without ruining the book doesn't come out again, right? Without spoiling anything, what can we expect after issue 1? Where is this story taking us?
You can expect more grumpy detectives. You can expect a whole lot more blood.
Yes.
You can definitely expect the politics of our world of Nottingham to be at play in full force in every single issue. But yeah, I kind of took the politics of Game of Thrones, mashed it into like a police procedural, and then there's kind of those spooky elements which I don't think I considered were in my script at the beginning, and then Shane kind of brought them out in his art, and I couldn't be more excited for people to see where we go.
So we usually ask this. Is there any like, and if you want to give us some secret ones, we promise not to tell anybody but YouTube. Anything you guys are working on that you want to share outside of this project?
I got nothing that I can talk about yet, but if you boys have stuff that you've got in the pipeline.
Yeah, same. I mean, I'm learning in this field that you can't talk too much about stuff, but there's stuff. Something with maybe something new with Mad Cave as well.
The genre?
Yeah.
You want to tell us a genre?
I think the genre is comic books.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Shots.
I've heard those are wonderful.
Yeah, you know, they've been doing pretty well for a while.
I kind of like
now,
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like half of Twitter is going to go, comics are a medium, not a genre.
I know, that's why I said that. I'm like, I'm inviting it, you know.
We're all gonna get doxxed now. That's just
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you know, it's a tough thing because you want to. It's like the line between spoiling and hyping. I come from the world of music. I've been a musician for 20 years now, and it's kind of the same there, where it's like people are like, "Oh, what do you have coming up?" And you want to say like, "Well, we wrote a new album. It's called this." It's like you want to hype, but you can't. You're sort of like, you know, you don't want to spoil things, but
Sure.
I feel like we all have some pretty cool stuff coming up. So
awesome.
Keep an eye out.
Lucas, you same answers, I imagine.
I pretty much. I am. Most of my work at the moment is under NDA, so I cannot, as much as I would like to. I think we can safely share that me and Shane will be working together again in the future, maybe.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a thing we can share, but maybe.
Yeah, Luca's got a couple of pages of mine either in his hands or on their way. So
they will be coming.
Awesome.
That's
I don't know
exciting.
if something we can make official or not, but
No.
When well, Brian is again my editor on that project again, I think. So I was really hyped to be working with them both at the same time again. And I hope there will be, and I'm sure there will be more occasions for the four of us to concoction some more mischief.
Wonderful.
So,
Definitely.
I'm just mad that I haven't seen these pages. Like. Where's the back channel, guys?
for shame.
Mad Cave is the publisher to watch for sure. Like, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming from Mad Cave.
Well, man, I'll tell you something about Mad Cave. I've kind of made a point of saying this in a lot of interviews, is that like it's crazy when I literally stumbled across the like the talent search, like typing in like art contest, because as an artist or a writer, I mean, you're just trying to see what's out there. And I was like, there's no way that there's actually a contest where you can draw comic books. Like, that just seems fake. You know what I mean? Especially just in the world we live in right now. But man, it's so cool that they will take chances on new talent, right? I mean, I get that it's the world of entertainment. I mean, it's pretty tough to put books out. Like, you're not going to stick somebody on Batman who is completely unproven. It's got to be a standard. But you run into the risk of being so like, this is what DC looks and sounds like. This is what Marvel looks and sounds like. And it's cool that Mad Cave is like, let's just see what the talent looks and sounds like and what they bring, as opposed to having like, this is exactly what Mad Cave is. Like, they're very willing to take a chance. And they used to do that more in comics. And it's cool to see somebody that is like trying to dig up new talent. I mean, I want to see like my favorite writers and artists put new stuff out, but I want to see what new people are doing as well, right? So
100%.
Kudos to them, man. It's like, it's so rare, and yeah, they're killing it. So
that's dope.
I've had the chance to check through some of the books they are going to publish soon, and it's honestly impressive. The quality and the variety of their material, it's really top notch. I was really impressed. Like, as a reader first, and as a man working in the industry, let's say.
That's awesome.
So I have to ask, there's a lot of murder in this book, and it kind of got me thinking. If the three of you, let's say that you were going to get murdered, like inescapable, you're gonna get murdered, but you get to pick one way that you're definitely not gonna get murdered. Did I word this right, Robo? Like, what's the way that you least want to be murdered?
That's a great question. I would think, the slower, the worse, right? I mean, I feel like if somebody, it's a famous thing where the night before Julius Caesar was murdered, they were talking about like, how do you want to die? And he's like, quick death is the way to go. So I feel like, an assassin's bullet, you're like, you don't see it coming. You don't have to think about it. I would probably say maybe something along the lines, let's keep it medieval. I don't think that I would want to die in the Iron Maiden. Maybe the rack would probably suck. They had a torture where they would boil your feet and have goats lick your skin off until you died. That's true. They did do that.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, they were creative. So I'll go with that one. That doesn't sound good to me.
Yeah.
Well, good one. Okay.
In that case, like, because your feet aren't vital organs, I think you would die from like sepsis or infection.
It'd take you weeks.
It would take you a long time. So
yeah.
Or the best scenario is like rock attack, which is probably not good anyway, but at least you die faster than just starving to death by being wrecked. That's not the right word. Hanged to a pole somewhere and waiting slowly for your end to come.
That does sound terrible.
Yeah, it does not sound good. No, I'm not a fan.
No.
You guys have such detailed answers. All I have is I have a paralyzing fear of heights and would not want to fall to my death.
Oh,
I'm down for that. Throw me down. I'd rather not be suffocated to death. I think that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think a fall sounds
something like that. No.
Hey, I just want to point out. I want to point out right now that like David, who wrote this like crazy, like pretty gory story, his fear is
the writer.
His fear is falling off a fucking building. Like,
Yeah.
what about like impaling? You know, I could
Right.
dream like being burned at the stake. Probably sounds worse, but I mean,
All
guess
your
fear
creative
of heights.
energy is all your creative energy is in the book. Like it's all gone, and then when you ask to fall
It's like
off
falling off
a
a
high
building, I guess.
point.
I guess I don't want to fall. Yeah.
I mean, he's the sensible guy between us. He's the one with the head of his on his shoulder.
So I know
Making
Robo's
sure
also dying to.
safe is something that's actually happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, there was a guy in Australia yesterday who survived a fall from like 4,000 meters after both his parachutes malfunctioned.
Meters.
Yeesh.
So is that like is that above a
parachutes
house?
did
Is that taller than a
4,000
house or
meters.
no? Just,
That's like
I'm pretending to not know what meters are.
Hey, I'm from Canada. We're all meters up here
think-
too. So David, you're in
Right.
good company. It's all good.
There's the two of us and the 50 meters here.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3.28 feet or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
My memory tells me.
Yeah, sure.
I know Robo's
go with
also
that.
dying to answer this question, so I'm gonna go. I know it's
Yeah.
not. We're not interviewing Robo, but I just wanted to blurt it out because I know he's already thought of it.
Well, mine absolutely. It's kind of a combination of like slow and all that stuff. Plus, I have a huge fear of like the deep ocean. So like going on a fishing boat or something, even cruises, I'm like, no, F that. But if someone really wanted to like, I need this guy to suffer, you drop me off in the middle of the ocean at night. I'm probably like, I don't know, you're gonna try to just tread water as long as you can, and then that would be the worst. That would suck.
And what's
Yeah.
your choice at this point? You go on your back and wait to be literally starved to death by the
Yeah.
sun hitting
Or
you
you-
with another.
Just
hope-
breathe the water.
Yeah, breathe the water. Hope sharks aren't swimming around nearby because
Ugh.
you know, shark
kinda
attack
down
alone
for
at
the
night
shark.
sounds bad.
Eaten
I'm
alive.
kind of down for the shark instead of the.
Shark
Yeah.
Attack Alone at Night was actually the title of my second album. So huge coincidence.
Did you want to answer before we close out, Judah?
Yeah, giant octopus. All right, take it away.
Ladies, gentlemen, NB, that is the end of our show. Thank you, David, Shane, and Luca for coming on, the creative team behind Mad Cave's Nottingham. It comes out in March 3rd. You guys are watching this sometime between the 25th and the 3rd. So hopefully, and then go get it. Remember to check out the book, order it from your local comic book store before you go give your money to billionaires. That'd be awesome. Don't forget to still continue washing your hands, wear your mask, and we lost Luca. But yeah, that was great. That was actually great timing, actually. So you guys take it easy, stay safe.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
If you want to hear interviews from industry pros, get first looks, and have access to endless comic content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell!